All right, so you think about moving to Fort Worth, Texas, or more particularly, you're considering Arlington, Texas. But is Arlington right fit for you? Let's find out. In this video, we're going to dive into the top 5 pros and cons of living in Arlington, Texas, so you can know exactly what to expect if you're planning on making this place your home. Well, you're in the right place. Stick around. We're going to break it down, the good, the not so good, and a few things that might just even surprise you. We're going to get after it right now. If this is your first time on the channel and like to know everything about Fort Worth, Texas and surrounding suburbs, such as Arlington, Texas, then subscribe below, tap the bell for notification so you'll be the first to know about the current market in Fort Worth, Texas. My name is Tommy Dyer with Moving to Fort Worth, Texas. Been in real estate for over 20 years here. My team and I love helping people make that move to Fort Worth, Texas, whether it be 9 days, 90 days, or 9 months. Feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, schedule a Zoom with us, and we'll be happy to help you make that smooth move to Fort Worth, Texas. All right, let's get into it. Arlington is a fun, unique, energetic, full-of-life city. Like any place has its up and downs. So here are my top 5 pros and cons of living in Arlington, Texas. All right, one of the first things you're going to love about Arlington, Texas is entertainment galore. It's packed with fun, lots of fun. It's actually the entertainment hub between Fort Worth and Dallas. Everyone comes here for fun. Starting, with AT&T Stadium, it's the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, Dallas Cowboys don't play in Dallas, actually play in Arlington, Texas. It's absolutely huge, holds over 80,000 people just in the stands alone. But it's not all about football at AT&T Stadium. They have world-class events year-round. They have concerts with different artists. They've had World Cup soccer championships, rodeo events, WWE wrestling championships, and much, much more. And literally right across the street is Globe Life Field, which is the home of the Texas Rangers, 2023 World Series champions. And they have world-class events year-round as well. I got to say, my family and I have been here many times for World Series games and football games at the AT&T Stadium. And it's always super fun, exciting, very, very family friendly. If you're ever here, you should definitely, check it out. You'll really enjoy it. Then you have Texas Live. It's a large entertainment district in Arlington. It's just located between Globe Life Field and AT&T Stadium. It has the restaurants, the bars, live country music, different events, even a hotel, making it a popular spot for food and drinks before and after the games. I must say, if as far as family goes, daytime or early evening is great. Once it gets late evening, especially on weekends, it does come more of an adult scene with the bars, the concerts, kind of that 21 plus vibe. Then you head over to Six Flags of Texas. Talk about fun. It has all the crazy roller coaster rides, for all ages, live shows, seasonal events. They even have, rides for small children, 2 to 7 years old. They have it for the 7 to 12 years old. They have it for the teens and the adults, pretty much something for everyone. And then literally across the street, you have Hurricane Harbor. It's one of the largest water parks in Texas. And it has all the big water slides for the thrill, seekers, and then they have the gentle pools and the lazy rivers, just relaxing, and they even have a dedicated area for children, like a splash area. I must say, personally, I prefer the water slides or maybe even the lazy river over the crazy roller coasters. My kids have been here many, many times, the Six Flags and Hurricane Harbor, and it's always been super fun and exciting, and it's just a great place to be. And they even have passes, down up like $7 a month. You can go unlimited. So if you're looking for a city, that brings a lot of fun, I would say Arlington is definitely it. Another huge reason people love Arlington, Texas is location. I mean, seriously, you probably heard that saying, location, 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 right? Well, Arlington absolutely nails it. And here's why. You're smack dab between Fort Worth and Dallas, Texas. Fort Worth's about 20 minutes west. Dallas is about 30, 35 minutes east. Super easy drives either way. And if you travel a lot, DFW Airport is just about 25 minutes going north. And there is a smaller airport, local airport called Dallas Love Field. It's about 25 minutes as well. Southwest Airlines runs a ton of flights out of there. So getting just pretty much anywhere in the country is a breeze. And getting around Arlington is super simple too. You've got 2 major highways. You have Interstate 30 and you have Interstate 20. They cut right across the city. And whether you're heading west to Fort Worth or east to Dallas, you've got options. If you're heading to DFW Airport, then you can easily take Highway 360, which is a toll road, but it's a very convenient. It's the only toll road actually in Arlington. Bottom line, whether you're commuting catching a flight, heading to a Cowboys or Rangers game, going to a concert, or just heading to the office, Arlington's central location makes everything crazy convenient. Another pro for Arlington is the wide range of homes that are available. Whether you're looking for a starter home or something more upscale or even a master plan community, Arlington really has it all. You've got, well-established neighborhoods like Fanny Farm, which is the southwest of Arlington. The houses there are built between the 1990s and the 2000s. Price points about the high 300,000 to 500,000. Then there's interlocking neighborhood in northwest Arlington. They're known for their man-made canal system, where approximately about 120 homes have waterfront properties. These houses were built between the 70s and 1990s. Price points about 400,000 to about 700,000. And if you're really looking for a newer type home, Viridian neighborhood is a top master plan community. It's in North Arlington. Price points about 500,000 to about 1.4 million. It has the lifestyle perks, walking trails, parks, Lake Viridian with beach access, and even pickleball courts. Of course, price changes over time, but Arlington truly offers really something for everyone. Another pro for Arlington, Texas is the University of Texas at Arlington. It's also known as UTA. It is a major asset for Arlington, bringing jobs, events, youthful energy, and education opportunities to Arlington. It actually has over 40,000 students. It's one of the largest student-based universities in the state of Texas. It is also a #1 most diverse university in the United States in 2024 by U.S. News and World Report. It offers nationally ranked fields for engineering, nursing, and business. Actually, my wife graduated from the University of Texas at Arlington. Good university. Because of the University of Texas at Arlington, some of the areas have a more younger, progressive vibe with cafes and art galleries, and gives Arlington a very lively college feel. And wrapping it up, the pros, this last one might surprise you. If you love outdoors, you're going to love the outdoor life and parks of Arlington. One of my favorite spots is Lake Arlington. It's located in southwest Arlington. It spans over 2,275 acres and offers everything from boating, kayaking, fishing, beautiful scenic views. You'll find a few parks around Lake Arlington as well. And one of my favorite parks is Bowman Springs Park. It's 14 acres of waterfront. It really has everything. It has a public boat ramp, it has a quiet fishing pier, walking trails, open green space, and even, a playground for the kids. And then if you go over to River Legacy Park, it's located in North Arlington, over 1,000 acres of forests and trails, with the Trinity River actually runs through the park. Offers, hiking, trails, kayaking, picnic areas, has playgrounds, even has dirt mountain biking trails. And if you love golf, Arlington offers several good public golf courses. Tierra Verde Golf Club and Lake Arlington Golf Course, just off the lake. Arlington really makes it easy to enjoy, nature without ever leaving the town. Whether you want to go for a walk your dog, hit the trails, play golf, or just relax at the lake, Arlington really has it all. So those are some of the biggest reasons people love living in Arlington, Texas. But, just like anywhere, it's not all great lake life and fun entertainment. No place is perfect, right? So let's talk about a few of the not so great things you might want to consider if you're planning on moving to Arlington, Texas. Most growing cities like Arlington deal with traffic, especially during, peak hours. There's a big game or concert. Big venues such as AT&T Stadium, Globe Life Field, Texas Live, they do draw crowds. Roads like Interstate 30 can get packed during those times, since it runs right through the stadiums and through the heart of the city. I've experienced this myself coming from the World Series games, which was a lot of fun. It would take me typically about an extra 30 minutes to get home, but well worth it. So, if you're heading, to a big event, just, plan a little bit more time. Interstate 30 and Interstate 20, which run east and west, can especially get busy during those times. And then there's Highway 360, which connects to the Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, is another major route that tends to slow down during the weekday rush hours. Now, it kind of sounds tough, but, it's all relative. I have clients from Los Angeles, New York, and Atlanta, and they've all told me stories of rush hours taking 1, 2, 3 hours. So you really don't have that here. Now, Arlington traffic can, definitely back up during peak times, but most days are pretty manageable. So if you're thinking about moving here, just to know that the game days require, a little more time, a little more patience. But for most people, the Arlington lifestyle makes it all worthwhile. Another thing to be ready for is those dang hot Texas summers, and they're definitely no joke. You do get plenty of sunshine here, but during those summer months, especially like the July and August, it's not unusual to see those temperatures climb into the triple digits. And it's just not Arlington. This kind of heat is common throughout all of North Texas. And it's just not the temperature either. Arlington does get, some humidity during those peak months, and it kind of can make the air feel thicker and hotter for sure. Now, that said, it's not nearly as intense as places like Houston on the Gulf Coast. The humidity here is definitely noticeable, but for most people, it's manageable. The good news is homes are built for it here. You'll find, strong air conditioning systems which is definitely an essential, not a luxury, shaded patios. Many will have pools and so on. And locals, we learn how to play, outdoor activities for early mornings or even evenings when things cool down a bit, especially in those July and August months. So while summers in Arlington can definitely bring the heat with the right expectations and a few small adjustments, most people settle just right in. All right, now let's talk about another thing to keep in mind is getting around town. Arlington doesn't have your train or your subway system like you see in the larger cities. There are a few bus routes, but they're limited in coverage and the frequency. So, if you're planning on moving here, having a car is pretty much a must, unless you're planning on relying on like Uber or Lyft for everything. But, this can be very expensive and inconvenient over time. The good news is parking is usually easy to find here outside of the big games. Traffic is very manageable. Owning a car is just a part of the suburban life here in Arlington and gives you the freedom to get where you need to go without relying on any type of transit system. And that is actually still evolving. Now, another thing to consider, especially if you have kids or plan on having kids in the future, is the school system. Arlington offers a range of school options, and school performance can really vary depending on the neighborhood. So, for example, there's a high school called Martin High School, which has consistently ranked highly according to niche.com. However, not every school in the area receives top marks, so it's something to be aware of. Most of Arlington falls within the Arlington ISD, but there are also several private and other charter schools available as alternatives to the public system. So you do have options. Every family has different priorities when it comes to education. So I always recommend doing your own research using certain sites like niche.com or greatschools.org to help you find the best fit for your needs. Last but not least, let's talk money, because while Texas saves you in one area, it makes up for it in another. That's my con number 5 is property taxes. One of the biggest advantages of living in Texas is that there is no state income tax. That's a major win for a lot of people relocating here from other states. However, to make up for some of that, property taxes tend to be a little bit higher than the national average that can affect your monthly mortgage payment. Especially if you're coming, from a state with lower taxes. Arlington's tax rates aren't the highest in Fort Worth, Dallas area, but they do sit towards the top, but by a small margin. So it's definitely something to be aware of when budgeting. The upside is that these taxes help fund local schools, parks, city services, which adds value to the community. So if you're thinking about, saving money but not paying state income tax, just keep an eye on the property taxes as part of your overall cost of living when planning to make that move to Arlington, Texas. All right, so there you have it, the pros and cons of living in Arlington, Texas. Hopefully this gave you a better idea what life's really like here and whether it might be really a good fit for you. While it may not be perfect, Arlington has a lot going for it and just might be exactly what you're looking for. If you're thinking about moving to Fort Worth, Texas or the surrounding suburbs such as Arlington, Texas, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, schedule a Zoom with us, and we'd love to help you make that smooth move to Fort Worth, Texas.